Morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are we?
Thank you for coming out on this fine, cheerful, warm Saturday morning.
Of course.
This hopefully will be just a pleasant, friendly interview for you.
Okay.
You'll have 15 minutes to answer questions from the council relevant to this vacancy that we're trying to fill.
Okay.
I want to let you know that all the activity related to the process this morning is being recorded and will play on Bowie Cable TV after the conclusion of the interviews. Your 15 minutes will begin with the first question. I would just suggest to you that you have 15 minutes for the interview, so I would discipline your time per response as you think fit. You know, like I said, welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself to
Sure.
the council?
My name is Patrick Schnider. I'm currently a program manager in Annapolis, Maryland for a federal contract company, a small business. I'm a 13-year Army veteran. I just recently got out back in December 2017. I'm currently unaffiliated, but I kind of blend a lot of ideas. I'm fiscally conservative, socially progressive, small business minded. I like to think I'm community and historically minded. That is to say, I'm a fan of the way Bowie is representative of a small town, if you will. I think that, you know, I'm one of those people that has certain experiences that I think would allow me to hit the ground running in filling the role. There's not a whole lot of educational time required or lead time required, so that's pretty much the gist of it.
All right, well, thank you for that. All right, we're going to start, the question will just go right down the aisle, and I'm going to start the next one with Dr. Bell.
First of all, thank you for applying. We do definitely appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, what do you think is the most important issue in Bowie, and how do you plan to make improvements?
I would say safety. I like the idea of being able to walk around the neighborhoods in the night. I like the idea of being able to walk along the roads or walk from my house. I live in Heather Hills, right across from here actually, and from the town center, and walking there at night, feeling safe from vehicles, from any crime or anything like that is very important to me. I noticed you had a discussion either recently or coming up about the city paths. I think that that's somewhere that I'd love to be able to walk late in the evening and feel safe. I wouldn't say that I necessarily have a plan for it. I think that the police presence is, as far as I'm aware, adequate from around my neighborhood. I haven't really explored that in any other neighborhoods or anything like that. But that would be a focus of mine, would be to ensure safety for anybody and everybody within the city, whether they live here or visiting here. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much for coming out this morning, Patrick.
Sure.
Thank you so very much. My question starts with, it's my opinion that local government is the most important level of government. Explain whether you disagree or agree with my statement.
That's your opinion.
Yes, my
That's also my opinion. I agree as well, wholeheartedly. Local government is the most accessible, by far. The open city council meetings. I can come in here, I can voice my opinion at the beginning, I can listen in, I can influence, I can talk to you directly without feeling wholly intimidated like I would talking to, a senator at the U.S. Senator or anything like that. It's the most impactful. I directly see the results of council meetings, of local government ordinances, taxes, things like that. So I would absolutely agree with you that the local government is the most important, and it's where change initiates. If you start small, you build a tidal wave. It's the nature of a grassroots change campaign. So I would absolutely agree with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Wolfley.
Good morning, and thank you again for coming out. We appreciate your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Here's my question. To date, how have you chosen to serve the city of Bowie? For example, have you served on the city committees, run for office, been on a homeowner association, PTA, or the like? And How will that help you represent your constituents if you're selected?
Well, I'm a big fan of open honesty, and to be honest with you, I haven't. I've lived here. We moved in October of 2016, and we have not. My wife and I have not had an opportunity. We've followed local politics, but we haven't been involved. We don't have any kids yet, so PTA is not something that I think is appropriate. I haven't actually even shown up to any meetings yet, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, and I just haven't had the time to do. So I actually was sent this notice from my brother-in-law, and I thought, you know what, let's do it. If I'm going to start participating, I might as well start participating this way. So unfortunately, I don't have that kind of experience.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Stead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This question is specific to District 3. The Sears location at Bowie Town Center is closing. The owners of the property are planning a mixed-use development on the site. What are your thoughts on the matter?
I had this discussion the other day. I'm not a fan. When you say mixed use, you're talking commercial and residential? I'm not a big fan of residential developments within town centers like that. Looking at the way Annapolis Town Center is up off Riva Road, they have stores with, apartment buildings above them. The rent generally is higher because of convenience. The size of the store, or the footprint of the store right now, I don't think would lend to anything other than a high-rise, which is not, I don't think, aesthetically appropriate to the community as it is right now. I'm a big fan of keeping it small community feeling. You put a high-rise in there with some stores on the bottom. To me, that's not, I think, what the city of Bowie and District 3 wants. Unless we were to put, some sort of rent control on it, I don't think it's going to be something that really fits with the environment of District 3 right in that location, personally. So I would not agree with a mix. I'd rather keep it purely commercial.
Thank you. Mr. Marcos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Schnider, for your interest in being here today. My question is kind of a two-part question. How do you feel about going forward with residential and commercial development in Bowie? I think you might have already touched on that. And what do you think the relationship between the county and Bowie should be with regards to development?
So for the first part, I grew up all over the U.S. My dad was military as well. We grew up in communities in Alaska and Oregon and here in Columbia, Maryland. And each of the places that we happened to live had that community feeling, where the kind of community where the kids would walk around on Halloween and go door to door trick-or-treating, where you knew your neighbors, where you didn't have to drive through highways to get directly to your house. I think that small town feel is part of what drew me to Bowie, particularly to Heather Hills. And developing additional residential spaces within the city limits, I would like to see it kept to that kind of model, interspersed with apartment communities, townhome communities, but that still can hold that small community feel. From a commercial standpoint, I'd like to see, I don't want to see large companies, huge companies that are going to take up large square feet and inundate an area with an immediate influx of a large amount of people. Slow growth, slow commercial development is kind of where I'm heading. Retail services, medical services, small businesses. As I said, introducing myself, I'm a big fan of the small business, and most of the work in the U.S. is done by small businesses. So I like to encourage those kind of opportunities. I'm working for a small business myself as part of a commercial development system. As far as what the county's influence with the city should be, I would say that, as long as the city's not doing anything to counteract the county's rules, regulations, laws, things like that, then let us do our thing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, is there a last thought about you you'd like to leave with the council?
Well, I run the risk here of doing this, but I was thinking about this. I was looking at the council this morning online, and I don't want to throw my opportunity away. But that being said, I don't necessarily know that visibly or visually I'm the best candidate for this. The person I'm replacing obviously is a female. From a standpoint of visible nature from the council, can we truly say we're representative of the government if we're not diverse, both gender and race and creed? So I would suggest that given the opportunity and finding someone qualified, that you hire someone who's a female probably to replace. That's what the voters voted for. That's what they wanted. That would be my recommendation. That's all I wanted to leave you with. And thank you, of course, for seeing me.
All right, well, thank you. Just so you know, this interviews will continue through this morning, and then some Tuesday night and some Wednesday night. So if people were to approach you between now and then and ask you about the interviews, I would suggest caution.
Of course, right.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming in tonight.
It's a pleasure.
This morning, we really appreciate your input. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.